The images of people trying to flee Afghanistan after the Taliban swept into the capital city of Kabul left many in shock. But those images were particularly jarring to residents who draw comparisons to the outcome of a different war. A Golden Valley family got to know Tina Nguyen well. Nguyen is a Vietnamese immigrant who is now on a mission to help those in Afghanistan who can't make it out. Here's Delane Cleveland.
Just showing you again those pictures from earlier of Taliban fighters.
In the aftermath of the Taliban's takeover of the Afghan government, thousands rushed onto the tarmac of the Kabul airport, desperate to escape.
I myself started feeling the trauma.
For Tina Nguyen of Richfield,
If you really take those images and put them side by side with Vietnam 1975, it's incredible, the resemblance.
there is an eerie similarity to the fall of Saigon that signaled the end of the Vietnam War.
And I wasn't even born during the war, nor was I raised up seeing the war directly, but I saw it in my grandmother and my mom.
Nguyen came to the U.S. from Vietnam in 2002 through a student exchange program.
So this is Grandpa and Grandma on their wedding day.
Her grandfather was a doctor for the U.S. Air Force in the Vietnam War. He was killed in action in Laos.
This is Grandpa's uniform.
Nguyen has his uniform and other priceless heirlooms.
These are Grandpa's love letters to my grandmother.
Her entire family was impacted in some way by the Vietnam War, which makes the events that unfolded in Afghanistan over the past few weeks that much more traumatic.
I know for a fact that PTSD is people who lived through the Vietnam War are reliving it now. Because my mother just told me that. She's like, hey, I saw this. This is exactly what we went through.
During Nguyen's nearly 2 decades in the U.S., she was unofficially adopted by Golden Valley residents Jim and Kathy Hagland. They celebrate important occasions with her and even helped bring her mom to the U.S. for her college graduation.
So I call them now Papa and Mama. They are basically my American dad and mom.
Now, much like an American family helped her, Nguyen wants to help those affected by the Afghan war.
I want to support organizations who are supporting the Afghans in the country right now, as well as I also signed up for organizations here to host refugees when they arrive.
The war in Afghanistan may be over, but the aftermath will be felt for generations.
When you feel helpless, help somebody.
Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Nguyen is hosting a fundraiser at Mellow Glaze Bakery in Minneapolis on September 4th. All proceeds will go toward the National Truman Security Project. The city of Plymouth lost its last 18-hole golf course when Hollydale closed, and now it's getting one of the indoor variety. Mulligan's Indoor Golf plans to open at a location southwest of I-494 in Rockford Road. The Plymouth City Council recently recommended a 3-2 liquor license for the venue. It's described as an indoor version of Top Golf, the popular venue in Brooklyn Center. Mulligan's will have 8 golf bays, and according to the owner, there will be hundreds of thousands of simulated courses to choose from. The facility plans to open in mid-November. Chalk it up to some talented artists. Main Street in Maple Grove becomes one colorful place this weekend. In today's Weekend Showcase, Neil Persley takes us to Chalkfest.
Chalkfest on Main Street in Maple Grove is back for 2021, and its legacy continues to grow.
I mean, when you consider our first year, 2016, we were happy to get 20 professional artists. In 2019, before the pandemic, we had 60 on the street. So, yeah, we've evolved.
Indeed, they have, and the fun starts Saturday. And it's not only the artists creating on the streets.
We have mandalas being drawn, so we will have chalk on the street so the kids can draw on the mandalas. We're going to have Bach to Rock doing several performances, and they can check that out on the website, chalkfestarborlakes.com. And then we're going to have a DJ playing phenomenal music, but the stars of the show are the artists.
And speaking of artists, Crystal resident Sean McCann is home off the road from a busy summer to join the 40 artists taking part in the festivities this year.
I'm going to be working on a large-scale 3D piece, which is going to be really fun and entertaining for the kids and interactive, and hopefully they will love to join in and be a part of it.
And if you want to give it a try yourself.
Well, one of the great things we also offer is the ability for people who come to the Chalkfest that are inspired by creating art. We have 5x5 foot squares that are available that people can get, and you buy a box of chalk and you get to create alongside the professionals, and the amateurs alike.
The event starts at 10 a.m., but
As the day goes on, the art evolves, and then on Sunday, they're going to see it more evolved to the finished product.
there will be a People's Choice Award.
The artists have to be done by 4 because the voting has to be done, and then we calculate to see who the public has made the People's Choice.
All of the art will be roped off and remain through Labor Day Monday to enjoy, and it would make a great afternoon out with the family. In Maple Grove, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Next week, many districts will join others in welcoming kids back to school. It's certainly an exciting and anxious time for many children, but it also brings some important safety reminders, and that includes drivers. Minnesota law requires drivers to stop at least 20 feet from a bus with red lights flashing. Drivers are also required to stop and yield to pedestrians and bicyclists at crosswalks. For parents, it's also a good idea to remind children to stay 5 steps from the curb until your school bus comes to a complete stop. And finally, we'll leave you now with video that the Anoka-Hennepin district released to celebrate back to school. The video features Anoka-Hennepin staff and students in a music video with an original song. The song No Limits is inspired by the district's tagline, "A future without limit."
The prep football season kicked off for many local teams Thursday night. Not a lot of the first games were very close, though. Jay Wilcox has the highlights from a rivalry game between Maple Grove and Osseo.
Osseo on their home field as they welcome rival Maple Grove for the season opener in prep football. And Maple Grove dominates from the start. Derek Jamison has a gap to run through and makes a nice cut, and he is gone. A 32-yard touchdown on the first Crimson possession sets the tone for the night. A few minutes later, the toss goes to Jamison, and he's pretty much untouched on this one. The play covers 36 yards, and Matt Lombardi and the Crimson lead it 14-0 after the opening quarter of play. Second quarter, and while Jamison gets a rest, Mika Vei takes the pitch, and it turns into another home run play. Good blocking and the speed of Vei lead to a 50-yard touchdown run. Maple Grove is up 21-0 early in the second. Quarterback Jacob Kilzer sweeps in from 5 yards out a few minutes later, and it's 28-0 Maple Grove. Their defense is dominant too. Sawyer Skanson pursues and catches Cade Fitzgerald for the sack. Jamison also excels as a punt returner in this one. He makes the first man miss and works his way up the sideline. It's another long touchdown for Maple Grove as Jamison goes 65 yards on the return for a 35-0 lead. Still in the second, and Kilzer on play action throws deep down the middle to Cole Newell for a 47-yard gain. That sets up another Jamison touchdown as Maple Grove leads 42-0 at halftime on the way to a 49-7 win over Osseo. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Thanks, Jay. After winning a state title in 2019, the Wayzata football team had a down season in the COVID-shortened 2020 campaign. The Trojans look like they could be back to a high level this fall. Students back in the stands for high school football this season, including at Wayzata. Trojans versus Roseville Thursday night, and Wayzata defensive back Zach Boutwell with a nice pass breakup. Wayzata leads 14-0 after one quarter. Second quarter, and Tommy Heyman comes in hard on the rush and gets the strip sack. Number 47, Fox Knutson, covers it in the end zone for a touchdown, and Wayzata is up 21-0. After a Trojans fumble recovery on the next Roseville drive, it's a short field for the offense. Dante Cockrell Jr. runs it in from 3 yards out. After the extra point, it's a 28-0 game. Final minute of the first half, and Trojans quarterback Ryan Harvey with a play-action pass to Drew Birkeland, 25 yards for a TD. Harvey throws 4 touchdown passes in the game as the Trojans blank the Raiders 42-0. Wayzata plays at Champlin Park next Friday live here on CCX. The Hopkins football team has a new coach this fall. Things didn't go so well for the Royals in their season opener. Jason Melillo has the highlights.
New Hopkins head coach Trevor Tolley and the Royals hosting Prior Lake on opening night. First quarter, quick handoff to Ryan Herejsi, and he's in from 3 yards out for a Lakers touchdown. Then good protection for Kyle Haas, and he connects with Joey Kraus in stride, and that goes for a 59-yard score, and it's 14-0 Lakers. Still in the first, Haas play-action fake, and he hits Kraus again. It's a 29-yard touchdown, and it's 21-0. Hopkins' Gabe Otmar doesn't get a lot of time to operate. Matt Nelson and Cole Edwards bringing heavy pressure here for the Lakers. They're up 35-0 at halftime and go on to win big. Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
Thank you, Jason. And that is all for sports. I'm John Jacobson. Have a good holiday weekend. Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.